This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Well, happy Christmas, joyeux Noël, and whatever they say in Jockland. It is our Christmas special episode. So say hello to the gang. Hello, gang. Celebrity Squares time. How are you doing?
All right.
I've invented this new thing this week. It's called the invisible beard.
You should take your mask off.
Goes with the rest of your forehead.
Like that one, like that.
Well, shave mine off so you can have a bag of hair.
So how we all do, guys? You're looking very,
you're
all looking very festive, apart from Dicko.
I'm surprised the hat actually fits you, because no hats ever fit you. Your ears are always the thing that keeps them up.
Yeah, I look a bit like Christopher or Yoda when I've got my ears out. Dicko's right in the middle of our Celebrity Squares tonight. How are you doing, mate?
Good. Mike, that looks like a bathrobe.
I've got no Christmas jumper because I've had to invest all my money in buying the kids stuff, so I've been wrapping presents all day for the kids.
Well, you can't say fairer than that, I suppose.
Of that excuse.
And I've had a very busy weekend, very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now tell us just how many miles you had to drive or fly this weekend for European rugby.
Well, as I mentioned, I got a good game, 28-0 for Lyon versus Glasgow. No errors, no NDs. Good report, so I was pretty happy with that.
I think we'd all take that one, wouldn't we?
Did it mess up your hair?
Didn't mess up my hair, was nice and warm, managed to watch a few games of rugby, so happy days.
Except you didn't watch the Queen's game, did you?
I'm going to find some NDs in that.
I watched a little bit of the Queen's game, not all of it.
Did you not get seconded to another game or anything?
No, I was very lucky when Spreaders managed to call me in time when my game was off. I was like, first thing I said was, that must be mean a free weekend for me then. So he was like, well, just wait a little bit. And I waited a little bit, and everyone passed their COVID tests, so I didn't have to step in, thankfully.
Happy days. Happy days. Well, you're not the only one that's had a few weekends off, although this is just one weekend. Because Smalesy had to have a few weekends off at the beginning, didn't he? Because he couldn't get himself to a local club that was going to do a COVID test. They were all too far away, and Spreaders wouldn't pay the transport, his mileage for him.
Well, costs are very tight at the moment, as you know. That's it. Well, there was rugby this weekend, and I think it's been cancelled again. All Tier 4, no rugby. So
yeah, that's it. We had one game in the summer, then it was all called off again. We had one game on Saturday. It's all going to be called off again.
Exactly. So it's just good times all around. Merry Christmas.
So who else has been doing rugby then? I'll just go around the board. Sam, any rugby where you are yet for you?
You're having a laugh, aren't you? No, unfortunately
shall
not.
I take that as a no, mate?
No, unfortunately not. A decision will be taken further in January when we return back after the festive period.
Fair enough. Jules,
Yeah.
what about you, man?
Nothing. Not allowed to train, not allowed to play. The kids are allowed to play. Small kids are allowed to play, but I don't think anybody is right now. It's basically all off at the moment. Everyone's in the gym.
What's one of them?
Apart from you.
Yeah. I was in there twice
apart
today.
from you. What, is that because there's a bar there?
No, I had to take my son this morning, and then I had a session with a PT this afternoon, and she's cute, so I had to go.
And just quick shout out to the cute PT. What's her name?
Linnea. And she's very, very good, and she causes me no end of agony. So
you normally have to pay a lot more than you do out in the gym for that.
yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna ache for days after that 30 minutes.
Did you release Respect the Elders?
Good lad.
And now I get a break over Christmas, and then I'm back in it in the new year, ready for the pre-season here.
If there is a pre-season.
No, we're looking like we're starting. So
you're not going to go into a national lockdown like the rest of Europe.
No, God, no. It's Sweden, for God's sake. The government will faff around and it'll be over by the time they decide anything.
Fair enough. Daryl, you've been quite a busy boy, actually, haven't you, in the last few weeks?
I actually refereed on Saturday under the new revised laws.
Where were you?
I was at Thurston, about 10 miles from where I live. And
Very nice.
we had a ball in play time apparently of 56 minutes. The players were absolutely hanging at the end of it.
Yeah, the penalty count in the last 20 on my game went a little bit high when they just couldn't be bothered to get back into an onside position. But yeah, I think that's going to be the key, isn't it? The ball in play time and the speed of the game. It's just tremendous now.
Is there not different laws for under 12s, Mike? Is that not, you're not supposed to penalise them as much?
Yeah, I only have to do a 30-minute game as well for under 12s, just because my legs don't go any faster, mate. Still went faster than yours last time you were over here, mate, when you dipped every game because your legs were aching.
That was my pre-season bloody Chester, wasn't it?
Under 12.
Chester under 12s, yeah.
Mike, no, Mike.
Phil, how goes rugby over there? I know we're planning for things in Easter and beyond, but how's it looking now?
There's rugby going on. It's on the East Coast in Florida, the Carolinas, mid-south and Tennessee and places like that. So there's still rugby going on, but it's nothing out here on the West Coast. California just came down with a notification that nothing is going to happen, adults or youth, at earliest will be the 28th of January. And we were preparing to get some of the professional rugby organization play here in Vegas. And that's probably going to have to be postponed. So it's all up in the air.
So on that then, so that includes your MLR as well. What is the latest with the MLR?
MLR is starting their season in March.
Right, okay. Is that when they would normally start?
No, they would normally start in January preseason and probably their season get going in February. There is an announcement I don't know if anybody, well, I'll go with it. Mexico's looking at putting together an MLR franchise for next year.
I read that.
That'd be nice.
Mm.
Yeah.
That and Hawaii. Happy days.
Is that
we'd all come over on exchange. I mean, did you see Dicko's eyes light up when we said Hawaii? He wasn't too impressed with Mexico, but
I'll happily take a trip to Mexico, no problem.
Yeah.
Anywhere if somebody else is paying. Chris, you were out at the weekend as well, weren't you?
I was. I had an intra-club game. It was just a sort of warm-up game to get used to new things. But yeah, no, it was good. Very fast because they were playing 10 low. So it was 10 with adapted law, and it was very fast.
Did you have your elf ears on during the game as well?
I can't take them off, mate. The picture. I'm blessed in that way. So I've only got Michael to thank for that.
And Mike, just for your 4 fans that have been watching this, you maybe want to introduce Chris because he hasn't been.
Well, if you can't tell, I'll just hide a bit more. That's why I've got this on, just so that people don't realise he's my son. And talking about people we need to introduce, Sammy is back. We have to call him Sammy because that's what we started on episode 1. Sammy's been too much of a good boy to come and join us on a Monday night because he's a keen little swat, aren't you?
I should say so. Just like to keep, well, it's hard to join when you're up at 4 in the morning, but there we are. Yeah, I was out on Friday night, actually. Did a interclub game at Scunthorpe. Adapted various laws, which is, I was really impressed with how sort of the players learned and worked with it, so it was great. Fast. They didn't like the new interpretation, the breakdown, so that will take some learning over the next couple of weeks. But another game on the
they just latch onto the ball and get a penalty. They're like, yes, please.
They think they can just touch the ball, even if they're off the feet, on one foot, 2 hands on the floor, or anything else.
Oh, no,
kneeling on the player.
Saturday was actually quite good at Jacqueline. I was very surprised.
Sammy, because well, Dicko doesn't know you, and Phil doesn't know you, so you now have 30 seconds in which you can tell these fine, upstanding gentlemen, and in fact, Julian doesn't know you, and talk about people who don't know you. Where the fuck is Pete? I've just realised he's not here. Is it feedback from Malta?
We don't get feedback. We don't get feedback when Malta talks.
Sam,
No.
just mute your mic for a sec.
No, that's it.
No,
It's also.
it's a Maltese feedback.
Perfect.
It's not the
Perfect.
Maltese
Does this
Falcon,
mean-
it's the Maltese
Does this mean we
feedback.
get to keep Sam on silent the whole show?
We just need
Not fucking likely.
underneath him anyway. It's a good way to keep him quiet.
Honestly,
so-
people might actually understand what we're saying.
Oh my god! What a miracle!
Yeah, have you watched last week's episode yet, boys?
Yes.
Did you like my subtitles, Sam?
No, you're a wanker. Yeah,
Okay,
they
now
were
I have to
good.
watch it.
They may take our in, but we're praying for freedom. Oh, yeah, whatever.
Oh, I couldn't understand what you were talking about, so I just made it up. The burning question on everybody's lips tonight, who's not met you before, is: are you 16 yet?
Yeah, you made full. The young looks full. I am 22 actually. Yeah, I know. Yeah, getting on a bit. Nearly catching you up, Mike.
Oh, you are.
Fucking hell, I look like Sam when I was 22. Never mind Sammy.
So a bit about me. If
That's
you've
enough.
watched
We're not that
episode-
fucking interested, lad.
I know.
Christ.
Aren't we? See, self-indulgent tonight, mate, aren't we?
What do you mean? Don't know.
Ah.
Nice jumper and that. What, scarf behind? You got to.
No, is
Keep
it a
it.
scarf? I thought they were your wanking socks that you were just leaving
I
to
thought they were
dry out on
socks
your bed.
too. Yeah,
No.
I thought they were socks too.
I'm sorry, mate. Just remind me of the score from. Was it last night? Just
No, well, yeah, I've erased it from my memory. To be honest,
Sorry,
it
Sam,
was not.
sorry,
It was a bit of a chasing experience we had.
I'm not
Yeah.
complaining. I got a 28-0 this weekend.
No, talking the 28-0. Right. So the match resolution committee was convened. And the match resolution committee at the EPCR decided that every game, regardless of the teams involved, was just going to be a 28-0. What the fucking hell was the point in that Zoom call? If you're just going to give everybody the same 28-0, 5.4 try win, I can't see.
Well,
It's not like the old pools panel, is it?
How could you possibly decipher between different teams? You can't say, well, they could have scored that and they can't score that. They've got to give it a blanket score line.
Why can't you? Why can't you?
Right, okay, so
that's all.
because then you'd be discriminating, wouldn't you, against a team, against the club? So you can't do that.
But this has happened in football for what, 40 odd years.
And look how fucked up football is.
But it's true though. You had the pools panel, didn't you? I mean, people like Daryl and I are old enough to remember the football pools and the man who was knocking on the door collecting the 50p off your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was called Jim in my village. He was called Jim the Pools. It's
Was
always
he?
good fun on tour. Yeah, Jim the Bank
Okay.
was a bit more boring.
If he's on tour, who's collecting the pools that weekend?
Jim the
Oh.
Bank took the money on when he was away.
Fair enough.
We had 5 guys called Jim in the village I grew up in, so they gave them all names.
Didn't they have surnames in Wales?
It was easier to remember what they did.
They're all too long to remember what they are.
They're all called Jones anyway.
Jim Jones the pools, Jim Jones
Jim
the
the
fireman.
Pools, Jim the Bank, Jim the Rugby, Jim the School, and Jim the Teacher. Now, the school one was working in the school, but he wasn't a teacher. And the teacher one was working in the school, but he was a teacher. So you have to give him different names.
And they say Wales isn't backwards. Right. So what do we think then of the 28-0? Sam, you're in favour of just a blanket 28-0 if you have to concede the game for a COVID reason. Now, I'll come on to the next point in a minute because it is quite an amusing one or an interesting one. So, Sam, you quite like 28-0. If you've got to concede the game because of COVID, you lose 28-0.
I'm not saying I agree with the 28-0. I'm saying that I agree with the blanket scoreline for all results that way, yes. So it could be 20-0 or it could be 15-0. It doesn't matter. but it has to be the same result for everybody. You can't decipher between two different clubs because that's just not right.
Is that because it's the only way Scotland managed to get anywhere near the top of the Autumn Nations Cup?
Moving on.
No, serious point, and I know we don't normally do serious points, but serious point. Is there any mileage to be gained if something like this were to happen again, that you actually convene a panel who says, in 5 of us or whatever, you vote, how many tries would they score, how many tries would they score, we think, based on past performance and games that they played against each other in the past as well?
No.
Is that not an option?
No, not at all.
No, I don't think so, because people had complained that goal difference had, if the team lost out on goal difference, and it was by this pools panel, you'd have all people kicking off at that, wouldn't you? So if you everything's exactly the same.
You don't know which side's going to turn up. No, you can't.
I mean, you can look at it. There's two ways to look at it. You can give us a score, 28-0, and you can accept that by saying we're not going to play. Or you can go the way the Dragons went and say we've had 12 players or 11 players now with COVID, yet we've still got a squad. So we're going to play anyway. We'll accept that we're probably going to lose anyway, but we get to give our young players some experience of playing in Europe. Exactly. We'll write this year off because we're not going to win the tournament, but we'll accept that we'll play the games rather than forfeiting because of COVID. So some clubs have gone one way, some clubs have gone the other.
Fair enough.
If you don't turn up, you're bound to have a squad that can turn up at some point.
Well, the other point,
way too much eggnog.
No, maybe.
The other
red wine from the French boys.
The other valid point, if you look at it this way as well, is, and I'm not trying to be like harsh on any club or anything like that, but if a club has ended up with, like Scarlets, for example, or whoever, have ended up with 20 odd cases of COVID, like Fiji and all the rest, well, whose fault is it?
Well, talking about fault, we'll come on to that in part 2, but right now we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AxiWe AT350.
Radios are always useful, they always help us, especially AxiWes, where all 3 of us can be open at any time, we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
So welcome back to part 2 of our Christmas special. Not that we've done much Christmassy stuff at the moment. Pete is at work and is going to join us, as you would probably have found out during the break when we tried to call him from Malta. Now, before the break, we were talking about the pools panel, the potentials, and it's not a good idea according to the rest of our 22. Now, talking of the COVID Cup and scores and things like that. What the fuck happened with Toulon over the weekend? What's going on? Julian, as the resident Welshman, would you like to lead this and tell us all the inside goss on what happened?
You asked the Welshman who lives in Sweden. But yeah, Clearly had one player who was diagnosed with COVID. They had him separate from the rest of the team. The rest of the team, they offered to get wholly tested. Toulon said, no, we're not going to take the risk of playing against a player who've been mingling with a player who've got COVID, and they pulled out the fixture. EPCR then went off and ruled on it and said, Toulon, you had the opportunity to play. We were happy for you to play, blah, 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 blah. And they put them 28-0. And now they're suing EPCR to try and get the result back. Yeah. But Clearly actually offered to get the whole team tested on the Saturday and play the actual game on the Sunday instead, with the results from all the COVID tests. So
now, what I find, there's a couple of things I find really bizarre about this. The first one is that I've heard today that it was to do with they weren't happy with the condition and state of the clubhouse, the changing rooms and things like that, and thought that could be harbouring COVID. So you can't really just do a PCR test on a bench in the changing room. So that may be a little bit of spin on it from them. But this is what gets me, right? So Llanelli had one player who tested positive, but they were happy that everybody else could play. and that they could play against Toulon as well. And yet Bath called their game off because they had possibly been exposed to that one player who tested positive the week before. So that sort of brings this whole thing into question, doesn't it? If Bath are going, well, last week we might have been in contact with him, so we're not playing at all. How can they say, well, all his teammates and people he plays and trains with, they're fine?
Presuming that they've obviously played the game on the Saturday, they've not been in training, they go into train, they go get tested on Monday, they don't have any close contact on Monday at training, because it's classed as a green session, and then Tuesday all the results come in, and if you've tested positive, you can isolate that person because they've not been in close contact with any of their team members. That's what I'm going for.
I would have thought that, but why doesn't that apply to Bath then? Why didn't they just do exactly the same thing? Get everybody tested as soon as possible on the Monday, wait for the test results to come back. If everybody came back clear, and then you do light stuff again, maybe retest on the Thursday, and wait for the results on the Friday before calling it off. It's a bit bizarre, but you know, it's a wonderful, weird, and strange time that we live in, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to do something a little bit Christmassy now, because we've decided to do a virtual Secret Santa. Now, everybody on the 22 was tasked with going and finding a present for somebody whose name was drawn out of a hat. Now, I know Pete isn't here, so Julian, while we wait for him, because Julian, you were given Pete, weren't you? So
It was a tough decision.
Was it a really tough decision?
It was. I had two choices I came up with, and I went with one of them.
Yeah, well, we've got both in there because I thought you would be really generous. And you're probably buying both, you see. Now, so that means I'm moving swiftly on to Daryl. And Daryl this week was buying for our good friend over in the USA, Mr. Phil Clavoric. So shall we have a look at what he was buying Phil for his Secret Santa?
I can see Daryl giggling in the background there. Daryl, is that the right size?
Yeah, about right.
I thought it'd go nicely with that sparkly jacket you got on there, Phil.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The mankini and the sparkly jacket.
The Donald Trump mankini, yeah.
That's the best mankini ever because it's the best because she's wearing it because he makes it the best.
So that was a very genteel start. I thought Darryl
really?
was yeah. I think that's very genteel when I know what you've bought, Pete.
Thanks, Carol.
Mr. Dickson has already, so you can see him watching EastEnders up above his laptop, can't you, tonight? And he only jumps in and looks at the screen when we call his name out. So the more you call his name out, the less he'll follow EastEnders. So what we're going to do, Sammy, is I want you to have a think, because Mr. Dickson is going to tell us his in a moment, because we had an odd number. But you're going to pick a present for Karl Dickson. You're going to describe it, and then you're going to tell us why. Now, where's Sam gone? There we go. There's Sam. Now, Sam, you were choosing tonight for James, who is another one who hasn't fucking bothered to turn up tonight. He's been like that all day, by the way. So this is what, and I think this depends on the story, but I think this is a bit lightweight as well, to be fair, mate. But why were you buying James a couple of reindeer and a sleigh?
Well, it's not really the reindeer, it's the sleigh, because, well, the sleigh represents Santa, and Santa's a giver. And James is a kind of guy that likes to give. He never takes and receives. He's a giver.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that, Sam, because Pete is definitely a receiver with one of the gifts I
don't know. With one, he's a receiver. With the other one, he's definitely a giver.
If you look at any of our chats, it's James that posts links upon links upon links for everything. So he's a giver.
That's because he's always sitting on the bog and he just goes on LinkedIn and Wales Online when he's having a shit.
Yeah, who the fuck reads Wales Online?
Now I'm going to come to Phil. So Phil, he got drawn Chris out of the hat.
I don't want
So this is with love, all the way from Las Vegas for young Master Chris.
I even took the time to wrap it.
Well, you're so kind, Phil. You're so kind.
Well, Chris, to be fair, is all the shit you put up with from your old man. I figured that.
I thought you were going to make a joke about me going to the toilet all the time, but I'll take it.
No, well,
But you do go to the toilet a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah.
Back when you used to be a part of this on a regular basis, you were always gone to the pisser. I know you have to squat and wipe.
I'll let you on a secret, Phil. Nothing's changed, mate. Nothing's changed.
Okay.
No, still weak bladder. Mr. Dickson, it's changed over now from EastEnders to Corrie, hasn't it, mate?
It's Chelsea playing West Ham.
Oh, are they? It's football. No, nobody gives a shit. Now, you decided that you were going to buy for one of your compatriots within World Rugby. So tell us who you were going to buy for and what you were going to buy them.
So it's not that interesting. It's probably not. The reason why I do it is, during the World Rugby, the World Cup and all stuff last year, I spent a lot of time with these two referees, and obviously they're considerably a little bit older than I am. So I call Romain Poit and Jerome Garces. So Romain is Papa and Jerome is Grandpapa. So I'd buy them just nice daddy sweaters, grandpa sweaters, just so they know who they were.
Sweet! What a nice young man, Mr. Dickson.
Such a nice guy.
If you can get them to do a match warm-up wearing them, that would be
lovely.
fantastic.
Well, we might be struggling with Jerome now since he doesn't referee anymore, but
I think they should come on the show wearing the sweaters. That in fact, I think Carl should knit the sweaters for them.
it'd be waiting a long time for some knitted sweaters.
And we could record that and make a show out of Carl knitting a sweater. It's about as interesting as the shit we normally do
on that show.
We don't get many views anyway, mate. Unless you're on, which is why we want you to come on more often. Now, next one is Chris. Now, Chris, you picked our good friend over in Norfolk, didn't you?
I did. I got dealt the role.
Sam, here's what you're getting for Christmas from Christopher.
You're gonna love it.
It's a vest top.
It's a singlet.
That's just nasty.
It's not a vest. Jesus, he's still calling them a vest.
It's a lovely vest. You want one of them? I've got one of them.
I know. I've been nice to you, Sam. Like I know how much you like singlets. I know how much you love England. So I just thought, why not combine the two?
It's quality, but it's Umbro though. So I'm not sure about Umbro. Do you know what I mean? Quality.
Now, Julian, this was your gift from James. So James did give a gift because he is a bit of a giver, according to Sam. So he did give you a gift, and I'm going to share it now. I don't think it's terribly interesting, but you'll know what it is.
Oh, I make my own.
Yeah.
I do make my own.
I can tell you like that.
It's what I make my own. I don't need to be bought that. It's great.
Right.
But thank you very much. Anyway, it's Welsh tea cake.
So yeah, for the benefit of everybody who isn't Welsh and doesn't know what the fuck that is, do tell us all.
It's Barrabrith and it's a Welsh fruit tea cake.
A Welsh fruit tea cake. It's a fucking big tea cake, that is.
There was a lot of them.
Yeah, there is a lot, definitely. Now,
How heavy would one of those things be?
Well, sorry?
How heavy would one of those cheesecake breads be?
Same as you.
Maybe a couple of kilos. They're quite heavy.
Yeah.
You don't want to run around on the game.
Sorry, I
after
don't know what I
slice
did
of that.
pounds and ounces, Phil.
Yeah,
I work
guess,
in kilos.
yeah, it's all relative to me. I'm just wondering, comparatively, it's going to be 5 times heavier than an average loaf of bread.
Now, have you noticed as well tonight, guys, that Christopher's camera keeps going off? It's because he's got a girly.
It's
And
not
clearly
because I'm trying to find a gift for Sammy.
Oh, it's a boy now. He clearly keeps going off to message him. Now, he has sent a gift for Sammy. Chris,
the first one's a bit shit.
So, Sammy, Christopher's been a nice boy, and he's bought you a present for Christmas.
Just because I know how addicted you are to the rig, mate, I just thought, you know, get some Slim Fast shakes, and you'll be in the money, mate.
I'll be able to fill this jumper that's far too big from last year now.
Did you know how he clearly didn't find that funny, Chris?
I did. You found it fucking hilarious, apparently. Though.
I did, yeah. It was just the way I saw a compression top and then a Slim Fast shake.
The compression top was a Huddersfield Town top, which I know Sam would really appreciate.
Oh, right, okay. You lost me on that one. It's football. Now, my turn. So I was buying for our good friend, Mr. Chapman. And because this guy is the consummate professional and has to get the body image right, I didn't buy him Slim Fast.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Honestly, that's the perfect gift.
Sorry, chappers.
Right, I'll take it. I can live with it. In the past.
Now, obviously, Dicko, he knows what this one's about because it's had about 500,000 social media hits. But I did think actually, I thought, let me just show that again, because I actually think that the one on the right is probably George Selwood in a couple of years. That's George Selwood getting ready for his first Premiership game.
Oh, I should probably screenshot that and send it to him.
Yeah. No, just get him to watch the show. That'll double our viewers.
Oh, yes.
So look, it's a shame that we haven't got Pete on, but we're going to show Pete's anyway.
Well, Pete's was a bit of a quandary, wasn't it? Because I nearly bought him. I thought about a Pikachu, but that was probably a bit too far to go. And then I had two choices.
Yeah, so here's choice number one, and we'll show these before we go to the next break. This was choice number one for Pete's Christmas present.
See, with all the sheep jokes he's been telling lately, and literally while I was making the decision, he sent a new one. So I thought, let's spice it up. Let's give you some props that he can actually deliver them with.
Yeah, to be honest though, mate, I do think, yeah, I think the second one was probably the best.
Well, what do you buy the man who has everything and has done nearly everything sexually?
An iridescent glass butt plug, clearly.
I thought I'd open his mind a little bit. Well,
I think it's going to more open his mind.
Shit for brains and all, yeah.
It's going to open up much more than his mind.
Open new opportunities.
What's the score, mate?
1-0 Chelsea.
There you go. For everybody who wants to know, on Christmas Day, which is when this show will come out, on the Monday before Christmas, on the 21st, it was 1-0 Chelsea. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. The camera is yours. Take it away, man.
So I only have one question. What sex shop did you go buy your bathrobe, Mike?
Ann Summers. And there's a plug for Ann Summers, so you can feel free to sponsor our show anytime you like. Anyway, welcome back to part 3, which Phil was going to do but then didn't. Now, Pete's going to join us in a minute to try on his two Christmas presents. I suppose we should talk a little bit of rugby. Now, there wasn't a great deal, as we've spoken about earlier on. Anybody see the Quins game?
No.
Against Racing 92?
Seen it now.
No, you didn't want to, Dicko. Not as next
I
to
was
Quinn,
the
I
day,
tell
but
you.
I've seen it now.
I was there.
Oh, were you fourth?
No, I was 5, the bag carrier.
The bag carrier. You did a really good job, mate.
It was a painful game.
What the fuck was Chris Ashton thinking? I mean,
Talking about at the end or all game?
well, I was going to say that there were 2 big incidents that he was involved with, but I think the biggest one was the one right at the death. Daryl, do you want to describe it as you were there, and what he did and what happened next?
Queens were attacking, and I can't remember how the turnover occurred, but the 14 from Racing came out, and he had some gas, and as he gassed past Chris Ashton, he slowed down slightly to dodge a player, and Chris Ashton grabbed his shirt just after he kicked the ball, pulled him back.
He chased him down. I mean, he kicked the ball, gone past Chris, and Chris hunted him down.
Yeah.
And it was about 9 months later. It was a full gestation period before Chris caught up with him and just grabbed him round the neck by his collar and pulled him down to the ground. The stupid thing is, Quins went and scored in the corner, and then they had to come all the way back and disallow the try just because Chris Ashton was a dickhead.
So the question would be, is what caused Chris Ashton to do that?
He got gassed.
Well, you just said he chased him down. So if he chased him down, I'm guessing Teddy Thomas must have done something to cause him that.
To wind him up a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there might have been a bit of sledging going on, but certainly within that play, I don't see anything other than he went round him and hit the ball ahead.
There might have been an incident earlier on that was a reaction to.
Well, if you're going to react, don't get caught that easily.
It doesn't really matter if Quinn scored or anything because it's still 50 points to.
Yeah,
not very much.
It didn't make any difference to the score, and it probably won't make any difference in terms of points difference throughout the competition either, would it?
Was Russell playing in that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was brilliant, mate.
Was he good?
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Yeah, there's not many Scots we can say that about, mainly because they all fucking leave Scotland, so you won't see them. But yeah, he was particularly good.
Cool.
I mean, he made some howlers, but he just laughs them off. He's got one of those cheeky little smiles, hasn't he? And he just laughed and he just put it behind him and got on with the next job. Simple as that. Now there was a bit of an AR call as well at one point. A very confident call of try from an AR. Upon review, I'm not sure that he would have had a view to be that confident, but turns out there wasn't any grounding of the ball. How did that one go down, chappers? You can take the 5th, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't see the incident. I was doing some paperwork.
Good answer, man. I like that. Good answer. I'm going to use that.
I only saw it afterwards, actually, when I watched the game back.
Who saw Mike Adamson do the Connaught Bristol game?
Yeah, we saw that.
I thought he did all right, actually.
I saw the first half and then it cut out on me.
Kids playing on the internet again, mate?
No, they weren't even here. It just dead.
What do you think? I thought he was. I thought he was okay. I mean, he gets a bit of a bad press sometimes, Mike, doesn't he? But I thought he did all right.
He's solid. He's a good ref. He's not the quickest lump around, but
neither am I, so I can't comment.
Yeah, so I thought he had a good game for the first half, anyway.
Well, what went wrong for him in the second half?
I don't know. Connaught started playing at that point, didn't they?
Your internet.
Yeah, Connaught scored a cracking try though.
Yeah, mate, I tell you what, who was it? Cass, yeah, didn't they do well to start with, and then sort of let it go a little bit towards the end. But boy, I tell you what, some of the French teams this year are absolutely solid, and we said this before a couple of weeks ago, just how good their strength and depth and their young players are now, and I think some of the French teams were absolutely outstanding. But the Munster game, how on earth Munster came back from that? They were strong. Pete,
Sorry, I'm late. Really sorry, I'm late.
Hello. You're not at all.
I was cooking.
Why have you got Mel's scarf on?
No, because she left it by my bed this morning.
We promise that's it, Sam. We're not doing any more Mel jokes. Promise.
No, we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to talk about it.
No. Anyway, you've missed Secret Santa, mate.
No, have I?
So just for your benefit, and because we can't think of anything else to fucking talk about, we're going to show you.
You're about games for the weekend. You've missed out the best game.
Oh, go on then.
Any yet?
The Gloucester Ulster game.
Go on then. Talk about it.
It was like Gloucester were leading 24-10, and Ulster just came storming back, scoring every second of the second half.
Yeah, the wind.
Gloucester scored like an 84th, 85th minute try.
Yeah.
It was absolutely mental game. There was like 3 penalty tries. Roman had a good game, to be fair.
If Roman was refereeing, he would have had a good game, but he wasn't refereeing that game, was he?
So, Chris, can we just come back to that glaring error there?
I swear it was Roman.
Alex Ruiz.
It was Ruiz refereeing it.
Shit. Yeah, my bad. I'll ignore me. I'll stop talking now.
That's why Roman had a really good game, because he wasn't refereeing.
I for one, am very happy that Chris is back on to get some order here.
Nice to see some referees' observation skills are up there with the rest.
I especially love Alex's run to the try line for the third penalty try.
Yeah, big sprint.
The speed there was fucking amazing.
It was at 80 meters or something stupid.
I've got to say, I do love the way he runs. And if you watch, and I know, Sammy, you tried to clip it and missed, but when he runs with his advantage arm out, just look at the way, it's like a prancing horse. It's phenomenally funny. So if you get a chance to watch him doing that, just do it. It has panache, shall we say.
When he's like telling him to go hands off, and he's like 5 meters out. I'll do it. He's 5 meters out, but he squats down like this and goes. I love it.
Very good, Chris. Well done.
I'm here all week.
Who's the guy? I can't remember which game it was in now. It might have been an Irish ref, and he does this at the scrum. He goes, crouch.
It's you.
Right, it's me. Thanks.
He's not him. Fucking hell! If you heard him calling a scrum, you could. To be fair, I'm surprised you haven't heard him from.
Yeah, you could hear me in Whitby, mate.
I think my tinnitus in my ears just recovered from Whitchurch a few years ago, mate.
I was trying to get
scrums.
Listening to Mike call a scrum while you're on radio is the single most painful thing your ears will ever hear.
You don't get a second row asking me to be a bit louder, though, do you?
Say again.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, 3 years ago, Sam, at Whitchurch, I think I was trying to shout above the noise of the hail and the gale that was blowing across the pitch. We started with some sunshine. We'd had snow in the day. We started with some sunshine, and by half-time, we'd had rain, wind, snow, sleet, and hail coming horizontally across. And I think we probably had 2 red cards by then as well, haven't we?
It was like a summer game in Wales.
It's all games in Wales, mate.
That's one of the
the summer gets worse. The winter gets worse.
We have to get rid of the sheep first.
Oh, there we go.
Now we're talking about sheep. What a fucking segue that is. It's the first time in 38 shows.
On cue.
Yeah, we've had a decent segue. Welcome to your Christmas present from Julian, mate.
Is that mine?
Yeah, we thought you needed some props, mate, for all the jokes you'd be making.
I tell you something, that one's been stuffed a little bit by you, hasn't it?
It's pre-warmed up for you.
Well, to be fair, mate, it could well have been stuffed by...
I didn't pre-warm up the other gift I thought for you, though.
No. Julian was so kind, he decided that he was going to buy you 2 presents this year.
And what do you buy the man who has everything?
Yeah, well, clearly you buy something else for his collection, don't you?
A flight to Malta.
Iridescent glass butt plugs.
I assume you don't have those sizes already, Pete?
No. I don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
It's an exit, not an entrance. It's an exit, not an entrance.
Have you noticed ever since you joined the show, Sam's turned his camera off?
Yeah, he called me from Malta.
Yeah, because you weren't on. You hadn't turned up, and we were worried where you were. Well, we weren't fucking worried at all.
Oh.
You just spoiled the second part of our show. That's why we called you.
Sorry. I know my secret Santa was you, wasn't it?
It was. I do not know, so I've got no graphics. He's going to send it to me later so I can put it in. Now, have you got a graphic of it now, or do you just want to describe it?
It's a way of bringing back your youth.
Is it that hair cream that makes hair grow again?
Yeah, I've often thought about that and thought, fuck that, £30 a month, no chance.
Buy a hat.
Yeah, no, just go fucking bald.
Yeah,
Cheaper.
it would save Claire wearing sunglasses in bed, wouldn't it?
So there you go. That's what I'm getting for Christmas from Pete. I think it might take more than just one spray and one pack of whatever they are for my hair to grow back. But Pete, thank you. The sentiment is appreciated. So
Pete, I did nearly buy you a Pikachu, but I thought that would be cruelty to animals.
I've already stuffed that one.
This show doesn't get any fucking better, does it?
No. Hey,
It gets worse.
there was one thing about the weekend. I did post to the group the shoulder to head in the
Northampton game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that not a red card?
In which game?
Dicko, do you want to give your wonderful
In which game?
opinion?
Saints game.
Tom
Saints
Wood.
game. I posted to
Northampton,
group.
Leinster.
The clear out.
Yeah, clear out straight to the head.
All right. So did you see the one in the New Zealand game with Michael Hooper?
He got a red card for that, didn't he?
He got a yellow card.
Yellow card.
So my question to you would be, before I give my opinion, is what more are you going to ask of the clearer? So Tom Wood, what are you going to ask him to do differently?
My thing about it all is that there was nothing to clear out but to go in for injury. He wasn't getting the ball. He was just stood there. He was bending down. He was in a position to steal the ball. He was over the ball. He wasn't stood up, because if he was stood up, he wouldn't have cleared him.
But he was stood up enough to clear him out lower than he hit him. There was a big enough gap between head and the ruck to actually hit him under.
So
and he's gone straight on the head.
Class as sealing off.
No.
So my question, all I would ask is, first question you're asking, is he making a legal clear?
Yes.
The clear out was clear, right, and legal. Unfortunately, the guy that was jackled over the ball was looking up and looking at the referee, not actually had his head bent down. Like
he didn't have it down. His head wasn't down. He got smashed.
Yeah.
So how many clear-outs do you reckon in a game where you make contact with a head clearing out?
Near enough all of them.
So there you go. My understanding of it, and the way I would explain it, would be he's making a legal clear out to a guy who's over the ball or over the breakdown part of the ruck, who's legally allowed to be cleared out. No foul play, play on.
What happens if that guy? What happens if that guy is concussed and can't play for 2 weeks?
Well, all right. Well, then you're saying to everybody now, if someone's over the ball, tiptoe in, ask him to move, and there you go. We're going to have head contact. There's going to be contacts with the head.
Of course there is. I mean, the players lead with the head all the time when they're going for the try line. I mean, that's their decision, isn't it? But this guy his decision was to clear out the player, and it's his decision of what height he can go. Surely.
I don't think.
I think there was an option to go lower there. It wasn't one of those ones where he's literally there, you're clearing him.
You're
asking an awful lot.
To go in and go lower. You're talking a couple of inches.
It is a couple of inches, I know.
Well, he's done everything you can ask of him to do to go in and clear out a man who's a threat to potentially taking the ball. He's in a position to take the ball. He's allowed to be cleared out. It's not a cheap shot. His head's in the way, and he's hit him in the head. He's not come in. If he'd have dove off his feet, literally, you're like, oh my God, that is, reckless. He's clearly not sport. He's just gone straight off his feet and taken him out. Then you're looking at an illegal clear out because he's not on his feet. Everything he's done is legal. He's hit him in the head. It's the same with these head-on-head contacts, where you've just got to decide, like, at the end of the day, are they legal and what they're doing? It's same with the clear out with the New Zealand Australia game, where they got the yellow card for the guy on the floor when it should have been red. he was always illegal, so it doesn't matter. If he starts legal and is always legal, then what else can you ask him to do?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and I think if you ask about the, well, what if he's concussed? What happens with the legal clear out, for want of a better phrase, that twists a knee? Rugby is a dangerous contact sport, and things are going to happen in the course of playing rugby legally that injure other players, aren't they?
Well, it's like, look at the Gloucester game where the guy comes flying over the guy, jumping to catch the ball, lands dangerously. There's no foul play, but what happens if he knocks himself out and can't play for a year? That's part of the game. And if we're getting to the stage where we're going to red card or yellow card players for doing everything legal, then you're almost going to get people not clearing out. They're all going to come in, sort of ask people to move out the way, let go of the ball, then clear them out. Rugby's an aggressive, combatant, contact sport. So, yes, we want to be protecting people with head contact and all the rest of it, but we've also got to be a part and parcel of the game, parts of it, and they're making it safer. And you see from the Wasps Montpellier game, red card, contact to the head, no problem. So
yeah,
I just think we've got to get to the stage where if we're looking at breakdowns where they're clearing people out, then if you're asking them to do everything legal, and then we're saying, well, now if you go in and make contact with the head, you're likely to get red carded. Well, what else can you do?
No, I agree. But that's probably a good place to leave it because we've actually talked some real rugby. And Phil's got to go as well because he's got work to do because he does have a real job. So we're going to carry on the chat after we've left the show. But from me, from everybody on the show tonight, have a very happy Christmas, a wonderful New Year. Stay safe and stay well. And stay at home. Don't go all over the country. Stay at home. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, Phil.
Bye.